Hello again. Welcome to another episode of Leading from Alignment with a good friend and coach, John Opalewski, who is just leading us through this journey that I'm getting a lot out of as a seasoned, so seasoned, I'm beef jerky, seasoned veteran in ministry, and yet it's tenderizing this old pile of calluses here. How are you today, John?
Hey Jim, I'm well. Good to be with you. And yeah, I this series didn't think it was going to go 3 weeks, but
Here we
we
are.
we talked in 346. We talked about the story we tell ourselves as we prepare to engage in a hard conversation and how it either sets us up for
Yeah,
success or failure. And last week we talked about the second story we tell when it comes to conflict, and that's the one we tell the person at the center of the conflict.
right.
And we looked at 6 skills to help a leader navigate the conflict conversation. And there's much more in that than 6 things that we talked about. A lot of
Yeah,
nuance in that last episode. And, today we're going to talk about a third story. There's
right.
3 stories, the one you tell yourself, the one you tell the person at the center or persons at the center of the conflict. And the third story is the ones we tell to those in the debris field of the conflict,
It's great.
the
Yeah,
collateral the collateral damage group. And the way you and I, Jim, communicate to the people watching the conflict
yeah.
often determines whether their trust grows in us or erodes.
Yes, that's
Um,
good.
so let's assume for a minute that the hard conversation we've had with the person at the epicenter of the conflict leads to a parting of ways. What do we say to the other people who have been affected by this, although they are
Yeah,
not directly involved? Now, I think every pastor who's watching or listening today is nodding their head saying, "Oh, yes,
yeah.
this happens, and this is one of my biggest fears." So, what do you just think about the subject today, Jim? And then we're going to dive right in because we got a lot
Yeah,
to talk
again,
about.
if these three parts have been to help people process the reality of leadership and have the courage to be a good leader, this is one of the things that will talk us out of. It requires an emotional capital that a
Mm,
lot of leaders don't have because of the hectic life, the close to burnout. Just doing things right is hard, and then something goes
mhm,
wrong, and then they go, "Well, I'll put that off. Well, if I do this, that affects that person. I'll lose half my worship team if I tell this one person you can't live with somebody you're not married to and be on the team. That whatever that is. Well, their
yeah,
parents will leave. It's I think this is the number one reason where it feels exhausting. It's not just the person, it's the debris field, as you've called it, that
yeah,
will talk us out of making good decisions as leaders that are important and necessary.
yeah. And I would say this that in the marketplace, this subject is much easier to
Yeah.
navigate
Yeah.
because the debris field, my experience 20 years in the marketplace, the debris field of somebody parting ways from the company was very narrow.
Yeah.
And the actually what happened in most scenarios when I had to let somebody go, the performance level of the rest of the team went higher.
Sure.
There wasn't any backbiting. They all realized I better get to work.
Yeah.
This company is serious about me doing my job and doing it well and having a good
Yeah.
attitude. In the church world, it's a different animal altogether.
Yes, it is.
So let's talk about what we should say. Maybe we'll include what we shouldn't say
Yeah.
to those in the debris field of a conflict in the church you lead. Let me just start with the obvious that conflict creates a debris field.
Yeah.
Every significant conflict affects more than the two people involved or the three or whatever the smaller group involved. Your staff members know what's happening, your elders or
Yeah.
deacons know what's going on, your volunteers notice, the members, your attenders,
Yeah.
they pick up. I'll tell you what, your guests know something is
Yeah.
going on, although they can't put their
There's
finger on
yeah,
what it
there's a
is.
smell in the room. They can't put your finger on it, but something smells funny. Yeah.
100%. And here's what I've discovered the hard way is that people create their own stories when leaders don't provide one.
Absolutely true. Yeah.
And there's this vacuum that's created with silence.
Yeah.
And people fill in vacuums with assumptions, and many of them are inaccurate
Yeah.
assumptions. So I think we can all agree on this, that conflict creates
Yes.
this
It's funny 'cause you talk about the
lateral.
corporate world. Basically, the exchange is I trade you your skills for my money. And so it isn't as personal here. It's like
That's right.
we use words like family and
Mhm.
team and army and kingdom. It is more difficult. It's far more personal than the corporate world, I would imagine.
Yes, it is. And I'll say this, I never enjoyed letting somebody go in the corporate
Sure.
world.
Yeah.
It always, I always felt terrible
Yeah.
for a couple of days at least
Sure. Yeah.
after pulling the trigger on that. But the what I'm really highlighting here is that the debris field was usually much smaller
Yeah.
and much less vocal, much
Yes.
less hurt
Yeah. Right.
by
It
that.
doesn't feel like a divorce. It feels like I decided not to trade you your time for my money.
That's right. It's a business
Yeah.
transaction in
Yes.
the minds of many people. That doesn't mean
Yeah.
they don't feel it, but it's
Yeah.
just not the same. It's
Right.
different.
And you might
So,
never see them again, might have never known their wife and kids or husband and family, just
and you might,
and you
and you
might.
might.
Yeah.
So you want to be, listen, if you're in the marketplace and you're listening to these last three podcasts, uh, you need to deal with conflict the same way. If you're
Yeah.
a Jesus follower, even
Yeah.
if you're not a Jesus follower and you're listening to this, that's what we said in episode
Yeah.
347, 346, you need to follow
Yeah.
because you may end up working with that person again,
Yes. Working for
um,
that person again. Yeah.
or working for them. That's
Yeah.
absolutely right. So, Pastor, if you don't tell the story at some level, somebody else is going to tell the story.
Yeah.
So here's some questions to ask as you begin to think about what do I share and to whom do I share it?
Good.
Here's
Yeah.
some good questions to think about. What does my church need from me right now in terms of communication?
Yeah.
I would suggest that you have this conversation at the leadership level,
Hmm.
at the board level. Uh, don't don't do this by yourself. Lean on your team to help you craft or answer that question.
Yeah.
What information do people need that will help them stay steady and versus what information is simply satisfying their curiosity. And there's
Yeah.
difference
Right.
there, right?
Right. Yeah.
Um, and man, if there ever is a time in leadership that you need wisdom, it's in these moments. I think this part of conflict might be the hardest part.
Yeah.
So here's a few ideas I think might help. And I'd like to just jump in and then
Yeah.
Jim, you can comment along the way.
Please.
So first of all, whatever communication you have with the debris field, keep it short and sweet.
Yes.
What I've observed, and I've observed this in my own life, so I'll include myself in the observation, most leaders either under or over explain. People don't need every detail.
Yeah.
And so what I think is you communicate these three things. I'm going to give them to you at a high level. I'll explain them and then I'll stop and let you share for
Okay.
a minute. So here's what we're wanting to communicate. Here's what happened.
Yeah.
Second, here's what's happening now.
Good. Right. Fill in the
And
blanks.
third, here's what's next.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's kind of like the framework for this short and sweet communication. Here's what's happened. Stick to facts and you're going to have to be careful because not all the facts,
Yes.
you're not going to be able to share all the facts most likely. And we're going to talk about some safety net for you a little bit later in the podcast around that. Avoid that temptation to editorialize.
Okay. Use more
Stick,
words. What's that mean? Editorialize.
put your own spin on it.
Gotcha.
It's not time for you to put your own spin. No, we want to just stick to facts.
Okay.
Um, don't, here's another way we editorialize. We assign motive
Yeah.
or we relitigate the conflict in front of the
Mm.
debris field, right?
Wow. No. No. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say all of those fit under editorializing.
Yes. Yeah.
No, we just here's what happened.
Yeah.
So when I had to let somebody go, I don't know how many years ago this was. It was a while back, a long time ago.
Hmm.
And um, when somebody on our team asked me, why is that person no longer with us? I simply said, we discovered that we weren't on the same page.
Yeah. Right.
That
Doesn't
wasn't
make
a,
them wrong. Doesn't make you right. Doesn't make them lazy. Doesn't make,
that's
yeah,
right.
that's, yeah.
And that wasn't a satisfactory answer to that person.
Okay.
And there was more than one person on the team asking me that. And they asked
Yeah.
me again, I say, we weren't on the same page.
Yeah.
That's really all you need to know here.
Yeah.
Because that's really the crux of the matter. I'm not going to give you all the details we weren't on the same page about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let it and somebody pressed me on it, and I said, okay, we were out of alignment with our core values,
Yeah.
and I couldn't get them back into alignment.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So I just stuck to the facts. So
Yeah.
that's what happened. And then here's what's happening now. After I tell them, here's the decision, here's what happened, here's the decision we made
Yeah.
because of what's happened. And again, I'm just being clear. I'm not defensive. People are going to be upset. People are going to be vocal. I've had people in a church setting in the middle of the announcing of what's happening stand up and say this isn't fair, or
Wow.
why and all that, and having to calm them down and just say,
Wow.
I understand you're upset.
Hmm.
We'll take that offline. We're not going to deal with that right now.
Yeah.
Um, Here's what's happening now. This person is now no longer part of the team.
Yeah.
And here's what's next. We are
Yeah.
on the, and so we're giving people this idea of here's the next steps we're going to take moving forward. So if it's a staff person that we've let go, here's how we're going. Because if let's say it's a
Yeah.
youth pastor, I
Yeah.
mean, what's the first thing in parents' minds? Like,
Who's going to be there next week for my kids?
that's
Yeah.
right. And so
Yeah.
we're explaining next steps
Yeah.
uh, whenever we can and whenever it's appropriate.
Right.
So I want to stop there. This keeping it short and sweet. Love to hear your
Yeah.
thoughts, Jim.
So let me just see if I have this right. So I have a youth pastor and he wants to be a senior pastor now, wants to switch positions or whatever. I would say to the board, hey guys, are you guys going to go through a transition? We're going to we're going to tell the staff this week. He's going to tell his leaders next week. We're announcing to the congregation the next week. 2 weeks after that, he'll be gone, and we're going to be looking for a candidate in the meantime because the transition is 5 weeks away. X number of person on the staff will be taking over as the temporary youth pastor.
There you
That's
go.
sort of a okay.
You
Now
got it.
let's change it though. My youth pastor, which is not true, this did not happen. My youth pastor had a moral failure. I'm bringing it to the board's attention, let them know, and it's my recommendation of the board but I'm asking for an agreement because I don't want to say I fired him. After discussing it with the board, we have decided that it's in the best interest to now part ways but I wouldn't say it was porn and he cheated on his wife, and they don't need to know
Yeah,
that. Do
right.
they need to know that it's a moral failure, or do they need
Well,
to know that?
so let me jump ahead into my notes
Okay,
here because this is a
yeah,
good time to bring this up. I would encourage you to talk with your attorney.
okay,
If you have or now if you're a large church and you have an HR advisor
yeah, mhm,
on retainer, or maybe you're big enough where you have that role staff,
yeah,
talk to them, talk to your insurance company.
right. That's what Ralph said the other
And
day. Yeah, because they'll be
yes,
the
and
one
that's
paying the
right.
claim. Yeah,
And ask them, where's the boundaries here?
yeah,
What can I say? What should I avoid? And
yes,
so I would
yeah,
say, don't try to figure that out on your own. There are skilled
yeah.
people who do
Okay,
that for a living for churches that can help you
right.
figure
Okay,
out, help me craft what I say here. That's
yeah.
that's what I would say,
I
Jim.
think too, that's the legality of it, which I think is really pertinent, and I'm glad you brought that up. The other
Yeah,
part is the debris field of the congregation to say, you know, an incident occurred. The board, and I investigated the incident. A confession was made. We've determined that a disqualifying, we're starting a process of helping the staff member and their family through this season. Please keep them in your prayers. They ask for privacy. But what I'm doing is
Yeah.
I'm saying I didn't fire him. We looked into it. We found the evidence. There was a confession, the board and I. So it isn't
Yes.
just, I,
Bring your board along. What you're saying there, Jim, is you're
yeah,
bringing your board along with you. And
yes,
there's weight that comes
yeah,
with that.
right. Because they may mistrust you for whatever reason, but it's hard for them to mistrust the series of men that they voted into that position, knowing
Yes.
that wisdom was part of the reason why they put their name on that ballot. So
Yeah.
with the collective wisdom of the board, we have decided,
Right.
I think is a better line than I fired him
Right.
because.
That's right. And I think that's absolutely correct. And I don't think you necessarily need to say, well, we talked to our attorney, we talked to the HR folks, we
Right.
talked to the insurance company, and they
Yeah.
told us that. No,
Yeah.
you don't have to say any of that publicly. You
Yeah.
need to do that work in
Yeah.
the
Good.
background, though.
Right.
So I jumped ahead there on that, but that seemed
Sorry.
like the right moment to come there.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. So, Pastor, you're gonna either want to undertalk or overtalk to people in the debris field. You got to hit that line, that fine middle to the best of your
Yeah.
ability. Here's another thing: resist the temptation to vindicate yourself. And I'm telling you, man, this is so difficult, especially if you've been unjustly criticized or
Yes.
false narratives are
Yeah.
circulating about you, or people are questioning your motives.
Yeah.
I mean, in those moments, your temptation, your flesh wants to defend
Yeah.
your reputation.
For their good as well as yours, right?
That's right.
that somebody said you're a dirty scoundrel, and I'm not allowed to correct that because I'm a pastor like that. So I'm
Right.
curious to hear what you say next.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think not every here's what I'm saying. Not every accusation deserves an answer.
Yeah.
There's just some stuff that you're going to have to just ignore
Yeah.
because the people who really know you well, know you the most, been around you the longest, knows none of that stuff's true.
Right.
And Jesus didn't answer every accusation that was hurled at him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there were moments when he did respond
Yeah.
to accusations. The Pharisees called him a sinner and a drunkard,
Yeah.
and he said, "You have a fine way. I didn't come to for the people who have got it all together. I've come for people who are hurting."
Yeah.
Like he responded to that.
Yeah.
So it's, you know what? I wish I could give you science here. This is art form. This is
Hmm.
discernment.
Yeah.
And and I think I would lean, and you're really stretching me with that question. I would lean on my team, my board.
Mhm.
I would lean on wise people who have
Yes.
been through something similar.
Right.
I'm sure every pastor or most pastors who are listening to this has a pastor friend who has gone through this multiple
Yes.
times.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with, you got to be careful there. These have to be people who can handle that information maturely.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Denominational leadership, or like you're saying, other pastors. But I think to
yeah,
say after consulting with blah blah blah, and discussing it as a board, we have arrived at the conclusion. Again, you're just saying this
yeah,
isn't knee jerk, this isn't emotional, this isn't vindictive. All those blanks that people might want to fill in with their worst experiences or their worst fears, or you know, because
yeah, yeah, I think, and I think it's okay to say something to this effect. There've been a lot of things said
yeah,
about the church, about this situation, and even about me. Um,
yeah,
Most of it's not true.
yeah,
Probably all of it that you've heard is true or skewed. But
yeah,
I'm not going to use my platform to vindicate myself here. We,
yes,
we've got we've got business to
mm,
transact. I mean, we got stuff we
yeah,
got to do here, right?
yeah,
So this is really, I mean, I think this is the part where I just, man, it's hard because I think each scenario is somewhat unique.
yeah,
And I think we need to ask God many times and for help when it comes to this very thing we're talking about, this desire to
Yeah.
vindicate myself. Lord, what should I say? What shouldn't I say? Go to my board. What should I say? What
Yeah.
shouldn't I say? Go to your wife, your spouse, your husband, if you're a female leader.
Yeah.
What should I say? What should I leave? What should I just let go? And what
Yeah.
needs to be addressed?
Yeah.
And I think those are in the moment type things. So let me say this. You're not going to bat 1,000 here.
Yeah.
You're not. There are going to be times when you should have spoken up and you didn't. There are going to be
Yeah.
times when you did speak up and you probably shouldn't have. That's not satisfactory. I know that you might be disappointed with that answer, but that's really the best I can do here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my personal experience when I was in second grade, my parents were divorced. From that day forward, my father, who was hurt, and my mother, who was hurt by the dissolving of their marriage, my father made sure not to miss an opportunity to tell me how it was my mother's fault, what a bad person she was, how she had wronged him, etc. My mother never said a disparaging word about my father. And in
Yeah,
the end, obviously, I was much closer to my mother because she took the high road. And this may seem counterintuitive, and yes, it does take time, but I think the first person to the cross wins. Like crucify yourself quickly
mhm,
so that your flesh
yeah,
doesn't look for a false justice or a false fairness. It
yeah,
hurting people hurt people. That's part of what we're doing here today is helping you navigate hurting people. Just don't become one of them. The
yeah,
old this is not to call people pigs, but that you wrestle with a pig in the mud, you both get dirty, but the pig likes it. I think that paints a very clear picture in my heart. Like I am not going to lower myself to counter accusing, even though I have facts that could absolutely strip them bare in public.
yeah,
I will lose the war if I win that battle. I
yeah. And
will
and some
lose
of
the
the war
war.
is not just the in the people side of it. It's the war for your soul.
Yeah, yeah. The
There's a
act of
meek
faith
there's
to
there's a
forgive.
meekness to leadership, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
the strength under control. Just
yeah,
because I have the facts doesn't mean I should use those to defend myself
yeah,
publicly.
yeah.
Um, and that really leads into this next piece, and that's
Okay.
protecting everyone's dignity. Even
Yeah,
when somebody has behaved poorly, don't humiliate them publicly.
yeah.
Please
Right.
avoid that. Don't use your platform to settle scores. Leave room for redemption
Yeah,
because today's difficult person could become tomorrow's restored brother
yeah,
or sister. Think
yeah. I've
about
seen it.
John Mark in the Bible, and Paul said, "Man, I don't want anything to do with that dude.
Yeah,
He abandoned us
yeah.
on our last on our
He's
last
disqualified.
journey."
Yeah,
Yeah, and what does Paul say at the end of near the end of his life? He said, "Bring John Mark with you
yeah.
because he's
Same one.
helpful. He's helpful to me."
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so be careful that you don't react, that you don't say, "I'm going to get my pound of flesh
yeah.
here." Um,
So junior high,
yes, yeah,
insecure, gotta win the argument.
yeah,
Something I observed years ago, and this is maybe not, it's all along the same track, and that is if I paint everyone who leaves for whatever reason as bad, then you have to have a really good reason to
there you
leave.
go.
And then they do. They get out and say, "Well, I left because it was so unhealthy. It was spiritually abusive. It was." But you say, "Listen, we had a great season together. It was an honor to serve you as your pastor, as your boss, your leader, whatever, for that season.
Yeah,
And I wish you nothing but well."
yeah,
Then
yeah.
you honor them to some degree, and it's hard to dishonor somebody who's honored you.
And I think you're normalizing endings, right? That
Yeah, yeah, great
there's
point.
just there's just and this is you said the word season.
Yeah,
And most people in the church you pastor are going to be seasonal.
yeah,
You're going to have a few lifers who will be with you the whole way. But
yeah,
more often than not, people are going to be in your world, in your sphere for a confined period of time
yeah,
because they have something to learn from you and you have something to learn from them, probably.
yeah, yeah,
Um, And
That's
so,
good.
yes, let's protect everyone's dignity. Know your legal boundaries. We already
Yeah,
talked about this,
that's good.
so
Yeah,
if it's a staff transition, uh, if there are allegations, all of that, your attorney, HR, if you have it, if you don't, your insurance company should be involved. Know what you can share and what you shouldn't share. Um,
okay.
and then let me give you a couple of other ones real quick here, Jim, because we're butting
Yeah,
up against time.
yeah,
Refuse to feed the rumor mill.
yeah,
I mean, people are going to ask questions, and some questions deserve answers, some of them.
yeah,
Others deserve a gracious response, like something like this. Out of respect for everyone involved, we're not going to discuss those details.
yeah.
And, confidentiality is different than secrecy.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
And so don't get sucked into that. And I would encourage you, Pastor, man, if you're walking through this right now, our hearts go out to you. We know how hard this is.
yeah,
Um, every conflict, I want to finish this conversation today with hope. And you should finish the conversation you're telling the people in the debris field with hope
yeah,
that every conflict teaches your church something. And the
yeah,
question is, God, what can we learn from this?
yeah,
And um, and what are we, let me put it this way, what are we learning through this? Are we
yeah,
learning humility? Are we learning courage or grace, wisdom? Or are we learning fear
yeah,
and avoidance and
yeah,
gossip? Pastor, people are going to probably forget the details of the conflict. They won't forget how their leaders handle the conflict.
yeah, yeah,
And so, difficult conversations, unavoidable,
yeah,
they're going to happen. But every one of them gives you an opportunity to model the gospel,
yeah,
to tell yourself the right story, to tell the person at the center of that conflict the right story, and then to tell everybody in the debris field of the conflict the right story.
yeah.
And
It's great.
I know that, again, we've done 3 weeks on this. How long have you and I been working on these types of things, Jim? And we're still growing, we're still
Sure.
learning, we're still
Still hard.
figuring out, we're still
Yeah,
making mistakes.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but I think because you and I have not been shy about engaging these things, we've developed
yeah,
our skill set a little bit more. And so, Pastor, we want you to develop, we want you to grow, um, and we want you to be able to navigate hard conversations in a
yeah,
way that, um, in the best case scenario, all parties involved win and gain.
yeah,
Um, but in a way that keeps you stable and keeps
yeah,
you steady and shows that you know how to steward the responsibility of people
mm,
being placed
yeah,
in your sphere of influence. And so, Jim, that's
yeah.
what I've got today.
Blessed are the peacemakers, and they'll be called
Yeah.
the sons and daughters of God. Well, John, yeah, my closing thought here for all of us as we wrap this up is all of this requires a healthy leader. If you're not
Hmm.
healthy, you will run from heavy, hard, difficult, dirty things. And the problem is if you don't confront them, as John's been telling us for the last several weeks, those difficult, hard, dirty things become the fragrance in the room. You as the leader,
Yeah.
a shepherd has a rod in his hand for a reason. And he's got a staff in his hand for a reason. You pull things in, you drive things off. That's part of leading is
That's right.
maintaining the fragrance of the kingdom of God in that work. And man, we know it's hard. But
Yeah.
again, if you're not healthy, the church will kind of rise and fall to some degree to the level of the health of its leaders. I think we can all agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
So, so even today, like I'm not dealing with this. Okay, but are you healthy? Because you're going to deal with this sooner or later. This is going to happen if it hasn't happened. It isn't happening right now. So please, our prayer for you is that you would figure out the rhythms, you'd figure out the priorities, you'd figure out the relationships, you'd figure out all the things that make you a healthy person. Converge Coaching, convergecoach.com. It exists. John's heart is to help you before you need help, while you need help, and after you need help. So
That's right.
there's a cadre of people that have given themselves to this along with John because of the vision that he casts for us. Please, convergecoach.com. Top of the page, there's a link. You want to have a half hour conversation. Let's talk. We'll do an assessment. Are you a healthy leader? How can we help you become more healthy in significant areas of your life? So, John, thank you for the last 3 weeks. It has been it's been really assuring. It's been really good. It's been insightful, been comforting. It's been challenging. So thank you for all the work you put into this. And we see God's fingerprints on your writings. You know, we can smell His breath with your words. So that's a good thing. The fragrance of the Lord. And so we're here for you. We're praying for you. God bless you guys. It's hard, but you're going to make it. It's Tuesday and you haven't quit. That means something, right? This is not
That's
what you
right.
do. This is who you are. Don't let anybody take it away from you. God will give you the courage to lead well as you continue to lead from alignment.